Welcome to the Bold Life School, the show that empowers you to elevate your life and to step into your full potential. I'm your host, Jameson, and this is where ambition meets authenticity, where you'll find the tools and inspiration to grow, evolve, and thrive. Each week, we dive into powerful topics that challenge the status quo, whether it's to break through limiting beliefs, navigate life's transitions, or embrace the bold moves that push you beyond your comfort zone. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome, bold friends, to episode 16. Have you ever woken up one day and thought, this life just doesn't fit anymore? That's the thing about bold awakenings. They don't knock politely. They barge in, rip the covers off, and say, this isn't it. Now, what are you going to do about it? Today, we're talking about that light bulb moment, the bold awakening, when you realize your life no longer fits and the scary, thrilling, disorienting steps that follow. No one will likely come up to you and tell you, hey, it's time to go. It's time to grow. But there will be signs. Often when we're ready for change, we experience the quiet signs: boredom, situational depression, resentment, fantasizing about being somewhere else or someone else. Do you find yourself consistently trying to escape your reality? If so, it's not just daydreaming. It's a sign. Sometimes the signs are louder. We experience amplified feelings in every area of our life: anger and frustration over small slights, burnout, big blow-ups, sudden breakdowns. It feels like being a woman on the edge, wanting to burn the whole thing down at sometimes. Nothing seems to be going our way. It's as if the universe is straight up rejecting us. Not only does nothing feel right, but everything seems to feel wrong. Think back. Can you recall a time when you ignored the quiet whispers until they became this kind of scream? Finally, there's the boiling point, when your beliefs outgrow your fears. This is the light bulb moment. When you've had it, you see the light, you make the decision that you cannot and will not take it anymore. In your life, when have you reached a boiling point? Over the course of my adult life, I've had quite a number of these moments where I realized that my life had to change. It had stopped fitting, that enough is enough moment. This one was a long-term relationship. From the beginning, there were plenty of signs that this was not a great match, but I wasn't ready to listen. Looking back, I absolutely was miserable in this relationship. But apparently, I wasn't willing to see that it meant I should leave until the quiet signs became louder and I finally reached that boiling point. That was my moment of awakening. Sometimes we're not quite aware of what exactly is wrong in our lives, the source. We want to blame others. We want to blame our circumstances. We blame ourselves. And sometimes we just settle. It's only when we take ownership of ourselves, our beliefs about who we are and what we really want, what we need, and what we deserve, that we can realize the possibilities and our true potential. You can't change what you're not willing to see. So why do we ignore the awakening? There are the two biggest saboteurs of growth: self-doubt and the doubt of others. Our minds are powerful machines. They want to keep us safe first. Change represents danger, and our minds have many ways to keep us from going outside that zone of safety. In other words, our minds are our biggest adversaries when it comes to change. Self-doubt creeps in, and it never stops. This is the what if I fail loop. These days, I'm much more likely to recognize these signs of change, though admittedly, my inner thoughts still taunt me. Am I crazy? Why can't I seem to settle for what many other people do? Am I making the right decision? Am I fooling myself? Thinking too big? Can I actually pull this off? Our inner critic almost always creeps in when we make bold moves and reject what may seem like standard living to others. This is how the brain tries to sabotage us, sabotage our efforts to go outside of that safety zone. But living a bold life requires us to manage our minds and manage our fears, to develop the ability to move forward despite them, having self-trust. And as you grow, your inner resistance may get louder. It will try to keep you safe the bigger you try to be. But the more we tell that little voice, all is well, it will be okay, I'm finding my way, the easier it becomes to ignore. With each incremental step and win that you experience, your confidence grows, and so do your results. As if managing our minds isn't hard enough, we often try to manage doubt from others. When we decide to elevate our lives or circumstances, it can make those around us very uncomfortable. Disapproval from our parents, lack of support from a partner, or peer pressure from friends. Just yesterday, I saw this play out with some kids. I was driving my son and his buddies home. One child said that he was planning on trying out for this prestigious sports team, and the other goes, "You can't make that team. That's one of the best teams in the state." Like, why was it so easy for this child to cut down the other one's dreams? Of course, I had to pipe in and say, well, if he never tries, he will never know, will he? Unfortunately, these types of peer interactions happen all the time, and they start from a young age. We learn these self-limiting beliefs and we then push them on others, and round around we go, squelching everyone's dreams and aspirations so that we can all stay safe like sheep in a herd. Sometimes the personal growth that others have feels like a threat to our comfort or our status or safety. It makes us question ourselves and our own value. It holds a mirror up to the inadequacies, the fears, the dreams we aren't ready to admit to. When confronted with constant pushback and pressure to remain the same, though, it takes courage to keep going, even when we have to do it alone. It's easier to stay comfortable than to make dramatic life changes. I mean, change takes time, effort, perseverance, and let's face it, there aren't a lot of people who are capable of doing it all on their own. Having the support of a trustworthy friend or a valuable coach to help keep us on track can make a world of difference. Sometimes it's necessary. Many years back, I was feeling completely out of sync with my job. The work, it just no longer inspired me. The culture had changed and I was feeling stuck. The problem was that I had told myself that this was the place. Thankfully, I got a coach to help me figure out my own brain. I started my work with her in a very confused place. Like, we didn't start out with some master plan for my life. I didn't know. All I knew was that I was unhappy, I was unmotivated, and I was unsure about what to do next. My main goal was to just get unstuck. But my secret goal was to become happy in my same job again. In my thoughts, I didn't really want to leave my job. I was playing it safe. I liked the image of me in that job, in that cozy trap of a company. The reality was that underneath all of the good things that I got from that job, and there were plenty of good things, I didn't want to be in that job. And I could not help those feelings from continuing to come up and showing me the signs quietly and then loudly. Well, fast forward 2 or 3 months, and I created real change. I had applied to a job that I'd been eyeballing. I got that job, moved to another state, and boom, all was well again. I was happy at work again. In retrospect, I'm glad that I made that change, even though it was difficult. But this was a series of fortunate events in that I didn't have to do a whole bunch of job search, go back to school or anything like that. I'd already prepped with years of work for this new role, so I was ready. But I also needed to be mentally ready. I put in that work to get mentally ready to admit to myself that I was ready for change, and seemingly that was the hardest part. Becoming a new version of ourselves often takes massive action, whether it is going out and getting the skills, doing work daily, consistently, or making mental changes. We make excuses for our lack of action. Oh, not enough time is a big one. But massive action, it doesn't require quitting your job or moving states. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to dump your responsibilities, but it does require you to make a plan, to dedicate consistent time to it and exercise patience and resilience when it gets difficult, because it will get difficult. We often get so caught up in those desired end results that we forget that we get to grow and enjoy the beauty of the journey along the way. Overwhelm and confusion in how to get there keeps us from doing the beginning work, from getting off the ground, from focusing on the now. And that's where the plan comes in. I'm currently working on a goal to create a coaching empire, platform, community, major courses, resources, everything to help women live more inspired lives. Well, this is a huge undertaking. Why? Because it is a ton of work and it takes time. And I choose not to give it my full attention right now. Why? Well, I have a full-time career that I truly love. I have a family. I have 4 puppies. I have a home to take care of. I have all of the excuses in the world if I want to use them, but I don't. If I look at the big goal and all of the massive action it entails, sure, I can feel overwhelmed, but I'm not, because I've created a manageable plan with incremental steps that I refer to when my mind goes crazy. I dedicate a finite, consistent amount of time to my goal at a pace I have set. I don't focus on all of the future stuff, the future work, the things that I have to learn, like building out an entire technical ecosystem, for example, and years of content creation. I just focus on the steps I've identified that I need to build for now. Sure, I research and plan to make good choices for later, but I don't act on those. I don't let it paralyze me and what I need to do for today, this month, or even this year. Despite the fact that I actively work to manage my thoughts still come up that I'm not doing enough. I'm not going fast enough. I should be doing more. But when my inner critic comes up, I go back to the plan I have in place and I remind myself of what my focus is now, what my parameters for reaching the next step of the goal are, and I stay in that lane. I'm only responsible for a manageable portion of the plan. That helps me shut down the inner critic, and it keeps me focused on moving forward despite the fact that I'm not making 6 years of change in 1 year. I'm focusing on this year. This work builds a foundation for the next level of work, and so on. And that is where we experience the power of compounding. Staying small feels safer in the short term, but it's the slowest kind of self-betrayal. It's easier to keep your dreams in a box for someday, but when you reach the boiling point where your desire to change becomes more than your desire to remain the same, you will know. Your body, mind, and heart will tell you. But the question is, are you listening? Making the first bold moves. Admit to yourself without editing. Write it down in a journal. What is your life telling you that you want to change? Name it. Name what you actually want. Say it aloud in a mirror. Write it on a sticky note. Put it on your fridge. Make it a goal. Write a quick plan. List 3 things you would need to do to begin a new journey. Make it real. Tell one safe, supportive person. Text a friend. I'm thinking about whatever it is. Big change doesn't start with massive action. It starts with tiny acts of truth-telling. Maybe today is the day you stop ignoring the signs and start listening. If this episode spoke to you, share it with the boldest woman you know, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a lesson. I'll see you next week. If you enjoyed today's episode, head over to theboldlife.coach for more resources, join our community, and start living your boldest life today.